The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race officially concluded from Pocono Raceway, and what looked like was going to be a dominant win for Corey Heim turns into misfortune for Heim, and Layne Riggs comes in and takes the victory and picks up his first win of 2025. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race from Pocono Raceway, the Miller Tech Battery 200. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race, so let's go talk about it. So before the green flag drop in today's race, Clayton Green, Dawson Sutton, and Brian Dawson would all have to go to the rear for unapproved adjustments. After the start of the race, you had Layne Riggs lead the field from the outside with Caden Honeycutt on the inside, and they battle side by side going into turn number one. Layne would unfortunately slip up the racetrack, lose a couple positions, and Corey Heim got a really good run and was able to take the race lead, and he would start pulling away from the rest of the pack. And by the time we got to about lap 10 or 15, he already had a 2-second lead over the rest of the field. Meanwhile, you had some stuff that was going on at this point. You had Matt Crafton being angry on the radio at this particular point. Behind continued to lead, but we saw a little bit of strategy near the end of stage number one. Carson Osbar would come down pit road, same with Tanner Gray, Gio Rosario, Roger Kroof, and Grant Enfinger. All of them would come down pit road to try to cycle up to the front on the next restart so they could be up in the front. It's kind of like a road course. So if how long the track is, you want to come down pit road early and be within that 10 seconds so you don't go a lap down. And then the next lap, Corey Heim would come down pit road, handing the race lead to Layne Riggs. And Grant Enfinger would also have to come back down pit road as he had a valve stent issue and would go a lap down. The first caution of the race would come out near the end of stage number one when Cody Dennison had a flat tire going into turn number one and would hit the outside wall really hard, unfortunately ending his day. This would bring out the caution. Tough rate for Cody. He was actually doing decent in this race today. This would end his day. This would mean the caution would come out with Layne Riggs coming off the final corner and winning stage one, followed by Caden Honeycutt, Connor Mosack, Andres Perez, and Jake Garcia. And then all lead lap trucks would then come down pit road except Stuart Friesen, Corey Heim, Carson Osbar, and Tanner Gray. Connor Mosack would win the race off pit road as he took fuel only, and then Layne Riggs and Andres Perez, Daniel Hemrick, and Ty Majeski would come off pit road as well. Meanwhile, Tyler Tomasi got a penalty for overall too soon, and Frankie Muniz got a penalty for uncontrolled tire. Meanwhile, Gio Rosario had to take the wave around after being really good early in the event. He would have to take the wave around. It would never be a factor after that. So then on the restart, you had Stuart Friesen lead the field from the outside with Corey Heim on the inside, and Corey Heim got a really good run on Friesen. It took a second to get by Friesen, but Corey got a great run on him and was able to take the race lead. But meanwhile, Corey Heim, for the first time all day, had a big challenger, and that was Carson Hocevar. Hocevar's already picked up a win so far in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, going back to earlier this year at Kansas. He was really the only guy early in this event that could challenge Corey Heim. But as the run progressed and went on, his truck really started coming in, that being Corey Heim's, and started pulling away from Carson Osbar at this particular point. A couple drivers would try to play some strategy. Stuart Friesen would come down pit road as he had to come down pit road, and Chandler Smith also came down pit road to try to cycle up front on the next restart. But no one would challenge Corey Heim, as Corey Heim would come out the final corner dominating fashion and win stage number two, followed by Carson Osbar, Layne Riggs, Jake Garcia, and Tanner Gray. So then during the caution, all lead lap trucks would then come down pit road except Roger Kroof, Spencer Boyd, and Tyler Tomasi, with Corey Heim winning the race off pit road, followed by Layne Riggs and Ty Majeski. And then we would see a couple guys come down to top off on the field, including Luke Baldwin, Connor Jones, Dawson Sutton, Tony Breidinger, Frankie Muniz, Matt Mills, and Gio Rosario. And then on the restart, you had Roger Kroof lead the field from the outside with Corey Heim on the inside, and Corey Heim got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Corey Heim started setting off and pulling away from the field, but all of a sudden, the first big crash of the day would end up taking place going into turn number three, going into the tunnel turn. Grant Enfinger tried to make a 3-wide move to the inside. He went up the racetrack a little bit, got clipped by Ben Rose. They would all go up the track and crash really hard on the outside wall. Tyler Ankrum would get collected, and more cars would pile in, including Connor Jones, Clayton Green, and Dawson Sutton. Maybe a little bit of an aggressive move there by Grant. It looked to me like Ben Rose might have come down a little bit as well. Not too much, though. Most of the blame does have to go to Grant. I think it's way too aggressive making a move like that. Again, he had a fast truck, but I think that move could have been a little bit avoided. But sometimes when drivers are desperate, they're going to try to make moves they think they need to make. Tough break there for all those guys. Ben Rose actually having a pretty good run despite the issues, and also Ankrum was doing pretty good. Some of those guys' days would come to an end. During this caution, Roger Kroof, Matt Mills, Tyler Tomasi would all come down pit road. And then on the restart, you had Corey Heim lead the field from the outside with Layne Riggs on the inside, and Corey Heim got a pretty solid restart and was able to clear for the race lead. But the final caution of the day would come out on that same lap is Jake Garcia got bumped in the back of Caden Honeycutt after he tried to make a move to the inside, being way too over-aggressive. He went up the racetrack and wasn't able to save the truck, and with Ty Majeski having nowhere to go, there was contact with Andres Perez and a couple other trucks, including Brandon Jones. They had nowhere to go. Jake Garcia would spin really hard into the inside wall, not take him out of the race completely, but a tough break because Jake Garcia had a great run going. He was running in the top 5 in the early portion of this event, but this was not his day. Of course, he's been doing a lot better than Haley Deegan this year, but for Jake Garcia, just a big mistake right there, being way too over-aggressive, and it's a shame because he had a chance to make the playoffs at this point. Just a massive mistake. His chance to go and win was over. During this caution, Andres Perez and Ty Majeski would come down pit road, with Andres Perez having too many crewmen over the wall too soon. But the biggest development of the race would happen as they're about to go back to green, as Corey Heim, the dominant driver all day long, would unfortunately have to go to the back of the field because he got a penalty, but because he had a flat tire on the right rear. On the most recent restart, I noticed that truck was not as fast, and unfortunately, he had a right rear tire that was going down. He would go to the tail end of the field at that point. Corey Heim always finds some way after having a dominant truck. There's always something that happens to this 11 team. He's been the fastest guy all year so far. Should have a lot more wins, but nothing to show for it. Just a bad mistake, not a mistake, but just a terrible break for Corey Heim. It probably should have won the race today. He had the fastest truck in the field, but nothing to show for it. And then on the restart, you have Layne Riggs lead the field from the inside with Carson Osbar on the outside. And Carson Osbar got a pretty good restart and got the lead, but only for a second, as Carson Osbar would get a penalty for a restart violation. Layne Riggs is a controlled truck on the restart. He's supposed to be the first one to go, and Carson Osbar jumped the restart and got ahead of him. There's a reason why he got penalized. You can't jump the leader. If the controlled truck at that time was Layne Riggs, you can't be the guy that goes ahead and becomes a control guy and then jump ahead. I know their team is trying to argue the case, but they argued only for a few laps, and then eventually Carson Osbar would have to come down pit road to serve the penalty, which would hand the lead to Layne Riggs. Meanwhile, a couple laps later, Matt Crafton got on the outside wall with the flat right front tire, and after having a decent run, his chance to go to victory lane or get a good finish was over. So at this particular point, Layne Riggs had a really, really big lead and was starting to pull away from the rest of the pack and the rest of the field, and had a near 2.5 second lead. There were times, especially in the corners, where Tanner Gray would try to close in, but coming to the white flag on the event, Layne Riggs had a near 3.5 second lead over Tanner Gray. There's questions on if drivers were going to have enough gas to make it to the checker flag, but it would not matter at the end, as Layne Riggs would come off the corner in late dominant fashion and pick up his first Truck Series victory of 2025 and his third career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win. Layne Riggs did not have the fastest truck in the field, but he was in the right position and right time all day long. He was the best of the rest of the fields. I do think Hocevar and Heim, they were the two fastest trucks in this field, but Layne Riggs was third fastest. And I've said this going into this year, and I've said this throughout the year so far. Layne Riggs has been the one guy most of the year that has been able to keep up with Corey Heim and has not been able to capitalize and pick up wins this year. Today, he capitalized and gets his first non-short track victory, and considering last year where he had a lot of issues in this race, this is a really big redemption story at the Pocono side of things to see Layne Riggs pick up the win. He absolutely earned this win. He dominated the end of this event. He earned this win, earned a victory. He should have a win or two so far this year with the speed he's shown. Congratulations to Layne Riggs on picking up his first win of 2025 and his third career truck win. I don't think it's going to be the last time we're going to see Layne Riggs win, as I think he's going to have a chance and opportunity to go for the championship later this year. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the race results and get my scoring thoughts on tonight's race. So Layne Riggs picks up the win. Tanner Gray finishes second. Want to give him a shout out. I think that's the second or third second place finish of the year so far. He had a really good truck. One of his best runs, I think, so far this season. He ran top 5 all day, ran about 4th best all day long. It's been an up and down season for the 15 team, so good to see Tanner Gray have one of his best runs in his truck career. Had great speed today. He finished second. Caden Honeycutt finished third. He ran top 5 most of the day, just didn't have the raw speed to go out there and pick up the win today, but still was a really good run for Caden Honeycutt. The last couple races for Caden have gone really good in the Craftsman Truck Series when it comes to pace and speed. Today was a great run for him. He finishes third. Good speed for Caden Honeycutt. Brandon Jones finished 4th. Had a quiet but really, really good day today. The best I've seen him driving that one truck. He, of course, has won a truck race prior at this track at Pocono back in 2020. This is a good track for Brandon Jones. great run for him. He finishes in 4th. Daniel Hemrick finished 5th. Daniel Hemrick qualified okay, but they charged their way and started moving up slowly but surely throughout the day, and today was a really good run for Hemrick. He finishes 5th, continues to put together some really solid and good finishes in the Truck Series this year. Connor Mosack finishes 6th. One of the best truck runs we have seen him have so far. Best one I think he's had all season. He's had a rough year so far. That 81 team, though, today put together a really good run. They had top 5 and top 10 speed all day, and this was a good step in the right direction for the 81 team. Good run for him. He finishes 6th. Chandler Smith finished 7th. He qualified not that great, but they made that truck better, and he does get a top 10. Didn't have the raw speed like his teammate did, but he did have top 10 speed of being very difficult to pass. He slowly got his way up to the front. Good run for him, all things considered, but not enough to contend for the victory. He finished 7th. Stuart Friesen finishes 8th, backs up the win a couple weeks ago at Michigan by getting a top 10 run today in 8th. He had issues on fuel and all that stuff throughout the day. He finishes 8th. Good run for him. Ty Majeski finished 9th. Got caught up in one of the incidents near the end of the race with Jake Garcia. Still a solid day for him to finish in the top 10 and 9th. Good run for Ty Majeski. And Roger Crew finished 10th. They played different strategy throughout the day. He had to come down pit road, had no choice, and he charged his way back up to the front to finish in 10th place. And I realistically think he could have gotten the top 5 today. He had top 5 speed, but not enough to get the win. Still was a pretty good run and redemption run after Michigan. Solid day for Raja. He finishes in 10th. Gio Ruggiero finished 11th, decent recovery after unfortunately not having the best pit stop early in the event. Luke Baldwin finished 12th. He ran top 15 a lot of this race and was up there near the end of the event. Quiet Most Day, one of the best Store Sport trucks today. It's a decent run for him. We don't know what his next race is going to be. Solid top 15 finish. Carson Ospar finished 13th. Carson was charging near the end of this race. If he had 4 or 5 more laps, I think he gets a top 10 run because that truck was one of the fastest trucks in the field near the end of the race. Just a big mistake on the restarts. Second race in a row where Carson's had a truck that could have won the race. Nothing to show for it at the end. Just a big mistake that cost him a great finish. He finished 13th. Jack Wood finished 14th. Patrick Emmerling will finish 15th. Want to give him a shout out because he had a really good truck throughout the day. At points was running in 10th to 15th most of the day, which for that truck is solid. I mean, Kyle Busch struggled in that truck at Charlotte, so good to see Patrick get a good opportunity. He had a decent day overall. He finished in 15th. Andreas Press finished in 16th. Grant Enfinger, after getting caught up in one of the wrecks, he finished 17th. Ben Rose, after getting caught up in another incident, finished 18th. Frankie Muniz gets another top 20 finish. Back-to-back top 20 finishes for Frankie today. They didn't have the best speed out there, but Frankie salvages a top 20 run after a lot of the carnage in the race. So good to see Frankie have a decent run in a 33 truck. And Matt Mills finished in 20th. Nathan Bird finished 21st. Tony Breidinger, who was just way off the pace all day long, one of the worst trucks in the field on pace and speed, she finished 22nd. She was getting outrun by the Rayum trucks and Young's trucks. Just unacceptable that she is that far off the pace. I know Haley Deegan was not that good in the Truck Series, but Jesus Christ, Breidinger is way worse than Deegan was in the Truck Series. Corey Heim finished 23rd. Once again, the dominant truck all day long. Nothing to show for it. Finished 23rd. He should have like 7 or 8 wins at this point with how good that truck's been, but nothing to show for it today. He finished 23rd. He will win more races this year. He'll have a good chance to win next week at Lime Rock. Just a tough way to go for Corey. He finished 23rd. Tyler Tomasi finished 24th. Spencer Boyd finished 25th. Tyler Ankrum, after getting caught up in one of the big wrecks, finished 26th. Matt Crafton finished 27th. Jake Garcia finished 28th. Dawson Sutton finished 29th. Clayton Green finished 30th. Connor Jones finished 31st. Struggled most of the day. Ran 20th to 25th. Then got caught up in the big wreck. Dawson Cramp finished 32nd. Cody Dennison finished 33rd. Norm Benning finished 34th. And finishing last in 35th is Brian Doza. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole and give my score and thoughts on today's race. I'm going to be honest, this probably was not one of the most exciting races we have seen at Pocono. The Truck Series at Pocono has either been hit or miss in my opinion, and I think today was a little bit of a miss. Was this race bad? No, it was not a terrible race by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't one of the most exciting races. You did have some good battles up front in the beginning of the race, and he had a pretty good battle there between Carson Ospar and Corey Heim. But it was really, really difficult to pass, which is something that has always happened in NASCAR competition. It's been very difficult to pass in racing since arrows became a factor. But I think especially at the end, when we didn't have a really good opportunity to see a great battle between Hocevar and Heim, I think it let the steam out of this race a little bit for me. And once Layne had a really big lead, I'm excited to see Layne Riggs win the race, don't get me wrong. But it let the steam out of the race just a little bit for me. And not having the field mileage also have an opportunity to kind of be creative. It wasn't the most exciting Truck Series race at Pocono. Because of that, my score of today's Truck Series race is going to be a 6 out of 10. Pocono's a track that can be hit or miss in trucks, so my score is going to be a 6. It wasn't an awful race, but it wasn't a good race either. My score is going to be a 6. So that is going to be before the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race review from Pocono. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me to Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. List description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's race. Your thoughts on today's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Layne Riggs on picking up the win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have reactions to Cup Series qualifying from Pocono. We're also going to have the Xfinity Series race review, and then, of course, on Sunday, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the Cup race at Pocono. We're also going to have the Cup review from Pocono, and if SVG does really well, we'll do a video on Shane Van Gisbergen, and then on Monday, we'll have a NASCAR news video. We've had some news about Bowman Gray. We've had some news around Tab Boyd, news around 2311 in the lawsuit. Once again, did a video on that earlier today. We're going to talk about people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Carlos, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Kurt Busch, Ryan Preece, Sam Marichal, the Creed Jr. Motorsports, Connor Zilch, Eric Almirola, Chandler Smith, Cletus Farm, Ram, and Dodge. Talk about all this stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.